Okay, so in the second of our three videos looking at supply side policies, we're going to focus specifically on some of the key weaknesses of the UK supply side. Now, what I've done here on this slide is I've picked out 8 aspects of the supply side, which many people think, many commentators believe, need to be addressed for the UK aggregate supply position to improve. Research and development spending, investment, skill shortages, economic inactivity, low labour mobility, and ageing infrastructure, regional imbalances, and the productivity gap. What I thought I'd do was just say a little bit about each just for a few seconds. So in terms of research and development spending, the UK spends less than 2% of GDP on R&D, and that is significantly lower than that of comparable countries such as the United States, which spends 3%, Germany a little bit higher, and countries such as South Korea, Finland and Israel. The UK government wants to lift research and development spending to about 2.5% of GDP by 2027, which is laudable, but it's going to be a tough ask. Low investment's quite important. Obviously, we've just had a recession in 2020, which caused investment to fall, and it's only recovering slowly. But business investment, capital spending by businesses, fell to just 10% of GDP in 2020. Add in a bit of government investment, the figure goes up. But our investment in new buildings, technologies, plant and machinery, and so on and so forth, hardware and software, is significantly below the average for OECD countries. That's the Organisation of Economic Cooperation and Development, if you like, the group of the highest income nations. We know that there are significant, persistent, chronic skill shortages in the UK. There are 1.3 million job vacancies as I speak in April of 2022. Employers finding it really hard to get hold of the skilled and semi-skilled workers that they need. And it's been estimated that by 2024 there could be a shortfall of nearly 4 million highly skilled workers in the UK. So that's clearly a barrier, a constraint on the supply side. Economic inactivity is people of working age who are not actively looking for work or in work. And it's a really key issue because during the pandemic, there has been actually a reversal of the progress in cutting inactivity. There's been nearly a 400,000 increase in economic inactivity. Some people have retired early, others have gone back into full-time education, others might be suffering from long COVID, other illnesses, or looking after relatives. But one in five of the population of working age in the UK is now economically inactive. That's about 9 million people. There are obviously key issues to do with mobility of labour. You may well have covered this as part of your market failure economics. Occupational, geographical and social immobilities are barriers to the supply side. One of the biggest issues, the biggest cost, is the housing affordability issue. Very high expensive cost of housing to buy and also rent. So in many cities in the UK, the average monthly rent is a significant percentage of your median disposable income. There's no little new social housing being built. And of course, there are structural barriers to social mobility, as we know, in many jobs and many occupations. The UK supply side is also held back by an ageing infrastructure. We can see that, of course, can't we? Potholes in the roads and congestion on our motorways and transport delays. 5 million homes at risk of flooding. And there's obviously been a well-publicised and major rise in serious pollution incidents from the water and sewage industry, much of which is due to the fact that our infrastructure is up against a serious long-term underinvestment. The regional imbalance is a very big issue. It's a major supply side issue. The levelling up agenda, of course, is pertinent amongst government ministers. Here's just a quick snapshot showing GDP per head in 2019, and the UK averaged 33,000. But look at the gap there between London and the North East. And of course, there are big imbalances within as well as between regions. And then productivity. 2019, the UK was 4th out of the G7 nations in terms of output per hour worked, but well below the United States and France, something like 15% below the USA and France and also Germany. So in some countries, output per worker or output per hour worked is significantly higher than it is in the UK. That is a supply side weakness. Might be worth taking a little screenshot of this slide because it gives you some great application, some great contextual knowledge that you can impress the examiner with in your papers. So in the third of our 3 videos, we're going to take a bit more look into the granular detail of supply side policies, look at some very specific things and do a little bit of evaluation.